Hi, and welcome to The Wellness of Being. I'm Brad Poirier, your host. Today's guest, Eileen, has an exciting presentation for you. She's going to talk about some great, amazing things. Find out why she's sought after. I want to welcome you, Eileen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here.
Awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive right in. So, Eileen, I haven't mentioned yet, but tell people why you're so sought after. What kind of therapy do you do?
So I am a registered massage therapist, but there are extra courses that I took and extra therapies that I do. One is called craniosacral therapy. It works on the membrane surrounding the brain and spinal cord, using the bones as handles to alleviate any tensions or torsions that there might be around the brain and spinal cord. And another one is a visceral manipulation. So it works on the organs and their sliding, gliding relationships, and how through illness, injury, dehydration, and stress they can be restricted and perhaps make a restriction in a joint.
It sounds amazing, and I know we're going to dive deeper into that during this segment. How did you get into this type of therapy?
So first of all, my first background, I was a competitive gymnastic coach and fitness instructor.
Wow.
And found that I had a deeper need to learn more.
Okay.
I went to school for massage therapy. While I was there, we had teachers that some of our teachers did do craniosacral therapy. I started taking some of those courses after graduating, and it delved, it went deeper and deeper and deeper, and found that you could help more and more and more people.
Yeah, and it's exciting because when you did that, was there something in you that kind of said, you know, the training that I have is great, but I need something more, or did something kind of pull you in this direction? Because I think there's only some people do what you do, but not a lot of massage therapists do what you do.
So there are some massage therapists in the area that do some of these techniques. I'm the only massage therapist who've done all of the whole program of the visceral manipulation course.
Okay.
So they can work on some organs, but not all of them. Each layer leads you to the next layer. You go in and you treat and you explore and find more, and your hands tell you more, but your hands say, "Oh, I can feel that there's something there, but I don't quite have a technique for it yet. So I need to go to another class."
So with the visceral manipulation, what would you use it for? Is it good for headaches, migraines, body pain? Or you can go a little bit deeper in for me just to explain what it actually does. It
can be used for a huge variety of reasons. It can be used for headaches, but sometimes you find that the headache comes from a very, very different reason. So I had one lady who had these crushing headaches for 4 years after a car accident, and she'd had extensive therapy done on her and no relief. And so what we did is I went exploring with my hand, trying to find out where is your problem actually coming from. This is the result, is the headache in your head, but where is the problem coming from? And what we found with her was we needed the combination of craniosacral therapy working on, so can I show you?
Sure can, yeah. So we're just going to, you just want to hold it up right there, that's perfect.
That's the bone of the sacrum.
Okay, and for those that don't know, where's the sacrum located?
So that's your tailbone. It's the triangular bone near your bottom of your spine. So for that lady in particular, we were looking at the membrane that surrounds the brain and spinal cord goes all through this up.
Okay. Yeah.
So what we found with her is there was a restriction in her uterus that set in front.
Ah, I see.
That was pulling on her sacrum, that was creating the tension all the way up to her head. So by not working on her head, we alleviated her pain. And actually, I phoned her a couple of days later and said, "How are you?" I was a little bit, we had done a lot of work, I was a little bit worried. So I found that she said, "Well, I sat in my car for 10 minutes afterward wondering what was different.
Okay.
And I realized I had no headache."
Oh,
for the
okay.
first time in 4
And
years.
I guess too, living with headaches, and myself included, I've lived with migraines most of my life and things like that. And you do, because a lot of times for most people, the simplest thing is you can't handle the pain, so it's to open up your medicine cabinet and grab something that you think will alleviate it. But with your system that you do, it gives you an alternative,
Yes.
you know, as well, that you can no longer have a headache. But like you said, your headache's not necessarily in your head.
Right. Right.
You know, it can be somewhere else in the body and stuff like that. Like, I'm very intrigued with this therapy, kind of how it works, and you're showing the alignments. I know you have some other little pieces here.
Yes.
So if we can go through, maybe if you pick another one and just kind of
Yes.
explain why you brought it to us today.
Okay, so this bone is called the occiput, and your brain stem comes through here.
Okay, so where would it,
So it
I
would
just want to
sit-
make sure, yeah.
It would sit kind of like this,
Okay,
and then this bone is called the sphenoid bone,
okay.
and it sits behind the eyes.
Oh,
And it
okay.
attaches in here. So the craniosacral rhythm, it has a rhythm like a heart rate or a respiratory rate. And it is very slow and very small. I'm going
Okay.
faster and larger for visual purposes for you.
Okay.
But they have a rhythm like this. But say
So these would actually move inside
this
your
would
body?
move inside your,
Oh,
yes.
okay, so it's not solid.
With the flow of cerebral spinal fluid, the fluid
okay.
that your brain floats in, it has a rhythm.
Okay,
Okay, and then this membrane sits inside, and the fluid is inside the membrane.
okay.
So this little piece here,
It's
Is
right there.
right-
So this
right
would
here.
flow through,
this would
and
be
it'd all be connected.
This would be like this. So
Okay.
when this movement happens, this kind of engorges with fluid
Okay.
and then dissipates and engorges
Yes.
with fluid, and then this one down at the other end would move with that.
Oh, okay. Wow. And I mean, I thought the body's just solid, that the only movement you do is when you like lift your arms or do this or things like that. I mean, I guess there's lots of inner working parts that we don't realize that are actually moving and things like that, or the fluid that moving. Because I guess a lot of people just think, you know, I just have blood in my system and it's just blood pumping
Right.
through my veins,
Right.
and that's it. You
So
know.
some people after an epidural may have a little bit of scar tissue on that dural tube.
Oh. Okay.
And then that can sometimes cause these flash migraines. When they try to stretch, they get this huge headache.
Okay.
So we use the bones as handles to stretch those membranes and get rid of the adhesion.
Okay.
And so there's more flexibility and movability in it, so they don't have that tension.
Okay, so would that work the same for maybe other types of headache, maybe a sinus headache or a regular headache or a migraine, or like somebody that gets it like right in behind the eyes?
So that
You know.
that is sometimes that the sphenoid bone might be sitting a little bit off to the side
Okay.
or twisted.
I see.
And then you also have your motor nerves and your optic nerve run through this bone. So it can play on your eyesight as well. So it's very, very integrative. So between the bones themselves and then the organ relation to them, if a organ is sitting in the wrong spot and adhered in the wrong
Okay.
spot, then you work on the organ to release the tension. Then that releases the tension on.
Okay.
I had one lady that I worked on scar tissue from a hysterectomy in the abdomen,
Okay.
and she was able to regain eyesight. Now she wasn't blind, but she was.
But it was
she
like
was
a
getting
blurred
better
vision
and better,
or
and
a-
she kept on
Yeah.
going back to her eye doctor and reducing her prescription
I see. Oh,
week after week, about 5 weeks in a row.
Because I guess the doctor was probably pretty amazed and thinking, what's going on here?
Yes.
You know, because normally for most people that wear glasses, they always tell you it's going to be more progressive, and the more you wear them, then you're going to have to get a stronger pair, then a
Yes.
bifocal, and then
Right.
you know, it just kind of keeps going on and on and on. So it's nice to see that there's a therapy that's good for, you know, other things as well. So what about, I have a little list here of just a couple of things, because some other stuff is like frozen shoulder,
Yes.
bladder issues, fertility issues,
Yes.
even depression.
Yes.
So-
So they call it, in craniosacral therapy, they call it the unhappy triad.
Okay.
So this, these two bones
Okay.
would be stuck together and not able to
Oh, they're not
slide and
flexible.
glide.
Okay.
Then where on the bottom of this bone you can see two little spots here. That's where your skull sits on your first vertebrae
so would
of your
that be
spine.
in? So would that be in?
So this one is
around
here,
Okay. So this is
and
this
this
stuff
one
here.
is here,
Oh, okay.
and these
Right, your
two are
occipital?
inside your
Okay.
your head, and this one is where the bone sits right on your first vertebrae on your
Okay.
spine.
Oh.
So these two would be stuck, these two would be stuck, and where the last lumbar vertebrae sits here would be stuck.
Oh, okay.
So
yes.
there, which doesn't allow for that flow of movement, for that pumping of cerebrospinal fluid.
Oh, okay. So if the fluid isn't pumping properly, what can result from that?
A huge variety of
Okay.
things. There's some work being done with Alzheimer's and this
Okay.
and these techniques.
So they think it's connected, or they think?
Yes,
Okay.
they do think there is some connection.
Okay.
There are other connections as
Yeah.
well, but some of those. So I use an integrative approach between the craniosacral
Yes.
therapy and then the visceral manipulation working on the organs.
Okay. Yeah.
So for the frozen shoulder, for example, if the liver has ligament, if it doesn't have full mobility of the liver, you can't have
Okay.
full mobility of your right shoulder.
Oh.
So
Okay.
if it's possible to see, so the liver's a large organ.
Okay. Yes.
So if we do this little twisting motion, you can see that that has an effect
Yeah, you can see it aligns
in a
right up.
variety
through.
of places, and it actually goes to the back as well.
Oh, okay.
So what I do is we find, where is your frozen shoulder coming from? Do we check the liver?
Okay.
If it's coming from there, we treat the liver. Then we allow the frozen shoulder.
Ah, okay.
So what I do is just put the body in an environment that it can self-heal.
Okay. Yes, that's amazing. So, yeah, one thing I have on the sheet here is fertility, because we've had some other segments where we've dealt with infertility. So, with your practice, how can you assist in that?
We are very good in assisting people where their labs are really good and they
Okay.
don't know why the people aren't getting
Okay.
pregnant.
Yes.
And that is about making sure that the uterus and fallopian tubes have full movement, so it
Okay.
so that it can go and grab the ovary,
Okay.
and go grab the egg from the ovary. If the uterus isn't sitting in the right position, if it's stuck forward, it can't reach and grab
No.
far enough.
So is that a big issue normally with infertility, that because it's not flexible and it's not moving, it doesn't have the ability to grab and bring in and process?
Absolutely. And then the other thing that we learned was that endometriosis
Okay, yeah.
happens due to the uterus being stuck, or the fallopian tubes
Yes.
being stuck in the open position. So we allow for more mobility so that they can lie flat down,
Ah,
so
okay.
that those endometrial cells are not going up into the abdomen.
Wow. I mean, there's just so much. I mean, you're so thorough. You're so knowledgeable. I'm just blown away right now. Like, I'm so excited you're here. You don't know. But and say we go back to, say, with depression and things like that,
Yes.
because I think there's quite a few people that suffer from depression or mild depression or don't even know they have
Yes.
depression. So you said before that it's kind of, this is locked in the front, so you know the term.
So this membrane that goes all the way down and attaches down here,
Okay.
right? If it doesn't have the ability to pump and flow,
Okay.
it isn't getting the nutrients all the way down, all the way up, and it's clamping down on your
Okay.
brain, and
Yeah.
it doesn't have full expression and full mobility.
Because it makes total sense, because a lot of people think I'm just having a blue day, I'm just having that sort of thing, and I guess we all have ups and downs and things like that, but when it becomes a more chronic issue, I think for a lot of people it's tougher. So if someone were to come and see you, what's the normal process you would take them through? So if they're doing the visceral, then if they came to you, so if I came to you for an appointment,
Yes.
how just a quick overview
Yes.
of what it would be like, or what my experience could be like.
So you tell me what therapy you're interested in coming in. Truly, I integrate them all.
Okay, yeah.
But what I do is I do an assessment. I take a look at how you move, how you walk, where you're not moving. So let's say I had somebody yesterday, when they walked, one arm went way over and the other arm barely. And they had a restriction going across
because
this direction, right?
Would that also make a difference for a lot of people too? They have like rolled in shoulders and things like that, that they're not.
Yes.
Or as I say, they're hunched over, or their neck is hunched over, and they've got, like, you see a lot of that as well.
Yes.
Or I guess they're not in, I'd say, necessary alignment, or the head is above the shoulders above the hips.
Yes.
You know, things like that, and you know, just aligned and that sort of thing.
So we see where they're moving, where they're not moving, and then we take a listen with the hand.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the hand has 3 spots that it can pick up infrared.
Yes.
And so we feel for where those are, and then whatever we find is the hottest, we go for.
Oh, awesome. So going back to massage, you do some interesting things with classes. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Certainly. I do have classes that I teach. One is for siblings. One is for parent-child, and one is for couples to help improve the relationships. So people who are in each other's space a little more.
Oh, okay, yes.
Massage helps increase your happy hormones and decrease your stress hormones. So the class is called Deepening Connections, and it's through using your body language, using being nonverbal as much as possible, and being able to be in each other's space and being present for the other person, and using massage techniques, of course, so, to learn how to decrease fighting and help deepen your connection in your relationship.
Yes. So as we come to a close, I see you have one more item here on the table. So if you want to just go over that briefly.
Certainly. So we all have these energy fields. Okay. So this is a toy I found, and if we close the circuit, we can make it go off, right?
I love that.
So if I hold one and you hold one, it doesn't go off because we haven't closed the circuit.
That's so cool.
We haven't closed the circuit. So we feel these energy fields. So if we're in each other's presence and one person's upset and the other person isn't, then it can affect us. So I just want to show you about your presence of being.
Wow, that's so amazing, Eileen. I'm so glad you joined us today. You brought such amazing things. I want to say thank you for coming, and I want to say thank you for joining us for this segment, and we'll be right back after the break.
During a routine exam, our daughter's pediatrician detected a heart murmur. We thought an EKG would confirm that we had nothing to worry about, but we were shocked by a diagnosis of pulmonary hypertension.
So I was stuck with colors and playtime, not medicine time.
Pulmonary hypertension is a rare, life-threatening lung disease. There is no cure, but treatments are available. Talk to your doctor about pH if you are experiencing these unexplained symptoms. It could save your life.
The following program is brought to you by Rogers Anyplace TV. Enjoy exclusive content for free. Visit RogersAnyplaceTV.com.
Hi, and welcome back after the break. So now we're back with our next guest, Lorinda. Lorinda is an author, but she's also done something totally amazing with breaking ground with a therapy that you may or may not know. So I want to say welcome, Lorinda, to the show.
Well, Thanks so much, Brad, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So this therapy that's groundbreaking, and when you told me, because we talked a little bit prior to having you on, is something that people may or may not know that has benefit, but the way that you're using it is truly incredible. Can you share with us what that kind of therapy is?
Sure. I love sharing Reiki with everyone.
Yeah.
And that it's so easy for everybody to do, whether it's you're a mom, a child, grown up, a senior, it doesn't matter who you are, everybody and anybody can use it. You don't have to be super gifted, as some people seem to think you have to be. You can just, as soon as you're trained, you can go out and use it. And mostly it's wonderful for self-care.
That's amazing. So let's just dive in and let's kind of get a little bit about your background first before we go a little bit deeper into the interview here.
Oh, sure. I went to school for physical anthropology. I knew I wasn't going to get a job in physical anthropology.
Okay.
But it was a wonderful experience because it taught me so many different things. It helped me learn how to research, which was really important 40 some odd years later when I decided to write my book. Because I wanted to have the proof, I wanted to have verification, and I wanted people to understand that this is not an airy-fairy thing. This is not something that's a passing fad. This is something that's been around, and we're almost celebrating the founder's birthday.
Wow.
And that will be 151 years ago that he was born. So it is a very, very cool thing to do, and I'm so blessed to have it. I've been a practitioner since 1994, and I've been teaching people since 1996, and I teach all over the place. I've been to Montreal to teach. I've been here in Barrie. I've gone up north. I've gone down south. It doesn't matter. I'm portable. I just take my gear and off I go.
So if we want to break down for our audience, what exactly is Reiki? What are the benefits? What's it used for? And are there different types?
Oh, yes. All right. With Reiki, there are different types. There's the Western Usui Takata Reiki, and there is also the Japanese Reiki. So people get confused all the time, and they ask...
Because I wouldn't know the difference or what to ask for, because a lot of people think, oh, a Reiki treatment? Okay, I heard about it. Just give me one.
Yes. Yes, indeed. And that's the reason why there's so much variation between practitioners, because each person and each style is taught a different way. So there is no regulation as to who should be teaching what and when and how. It's up to the individual if they choose to join an association. And with joining that association, that does give you a little bit of credibility, but those associations are not registered with any government agency. So it's still a little bit of a crapshoot if you have a good person or a not good person. The difference that I have discovered between having Western Reiki and also Japanese Reiki is that the Western Reiki focuses on externals. So things like chakras, things like angels, things like pendulums, things like crystals, all those kinds of things. They are wonderful, wonderful therapies in their own natural right. But when Usui Sensei brought this therapy forward, he was not using those various elements.
Yes.
So in the Japanese style, we focus on internal. Instead of saying that we are doing Reiki to someone, we are actually being Reiki ourselves. So we learn, meditation is not something that's only for Eastern, no, I shouldn't say Eastern, it's not just for yoga folks. It is for everybody. Yes. And it has been shown to be wonderful for mind-body to help everybody focus. It is a wonderful way to calm the monkey chatter in our minds.
Oh, yes.
And so that's what we do. While we don't have any literature saying that Usui Sensei had incorporated meditation in his style of Reiki, what we do know is, as a Japanese practitioner, at that time, meditation was still vitally important for people of his age. So they would sit in temples, they would go into the mountains, and that's why he went on Mount Kuriyama. He sat for the 21-day meditation, and he discovered who he was. He discovered how quiet he could be, and by being in that state of quiet, he connected with source energy, Reiki energy, whatever you want to call it to be, and he became Reiki himself.
Oh, wow.
So when he was sharing Reiki afterwards, that is why people had such transformative experiences, was because he had become Reiki.
And I think that's what a lot of people have. They have a lot of mind chatter, and the meditation is very important. I myself went on a 10-day meditation retreat. You know, there was no verbal, there was no nothing. You just meditate, you're with your own thoughts and your breathing, and you're, you know, and it's an incredible experience. So somebody who's never had a Reiki treatment before, what are the benefits of Reiki that they would experience?
Because Reiki is classified as a complementary therapy or an integrative therapy, we cannot, because we're not trained as medical personnel, we cannot say that we can heal someone.
Okay.
The only person who can heal anybody is the person themselves. So we can assist the individual in getting their body to remember what balance and health is all about. So we can assist the client in relaxation, we can assist the client in stress reduction, we can assist the client in reducing anxiety, and there are many clinical studies. I have a big binder.
Sure,
of which I do try to have as many scientific articles in there as possible.
Okay.
So that people can go to it and look at it and say, yes, it has been used in various studies, and hospitals are using it, hospices are using it, and there's clinical data to back it up, because that is why so far Reiki has not been allowed in hospitals, is because many of the people who say that complementary therapies, integrative therapies are not valid in a hospital setting want to see the clinical proof. So by having some documentation, I hope to assist everybody moving forward in saying that yes, there is quality studies out there.
And that's something right now that it's very groundbreaking of what you're into, is because you're doing stuff now with some hospitals, or a hospital in Barrie, and things like that. Can you expand a little bit more on that?
Yes, it was a very synchronistic event that happened. Last year I was asked to speak at the Mid-Atlantic Reiki Conference that was in Mississauga.
Okay.
I was part of a panel that was talking actually about what you were suggesting, how to be professional in a hospital or hospice setting, professional setting. And so afterwards, one of the attendees approached me and said, we're trying to write a proposal for local RVH hospital, asking them to allow us to do Reiki within the facility. Would you be interested in helping us out? I said, of course.
Sure.
Of course, it's my passion. Everybody and anybody should
if you can benefit people and share your knowledge, share your wisdom, and you can also help assist and help in their healing, you know, who wouldn't say?
Exactly.
You know, a great big yes.
Yeah. So we sat down, the three of us, two other ladies and myself. The three of us got together at Timmy's, had coffee, all that, and talked about this and formulated, and emails went back and forth, and we finally had something that was appropriate for all of us. And so then we submitted it. And one of the biggest things that individuals need is a champion, what they call a champion. Because if you have a champion within the facility who is on board with what you're doing, it's going to be phenomenal. They will work their butt off for you. If you have no one and you have a brick wall, unfortunately, it's going to take a long time to chip away at that wall until they get comfortable with you, until you have proven yourself to be a bona fide, qualified, good person, because they don't want to admit just anybody off the street.
No, of course
They want
not.
to make sure that their patients are safe. So that's what we did. So for the last year, our anniversary is actually coming up. The three of us will have been sharing Reiki within the Royal Victoria Hospital in Barrie for 1 year with the staff.
It's amazing.
It is. It's truly amazing. The staff love it when they post an online appointment scheduling. The online appointments, 21 spots, fill up within about 5 minutes.
Wow.
So we are very grateful to be there.
So obviously people are finding benefit in the service that you're giving and things like that.
Yes.
But you also work within a hospice as well.
Yes, that is correct. I've been with Hospice House Simcoe on Penetang's Washeen Road. for the last 11 years, and I've been able, very fortunate, to be sharing Reiki with the residents, their family members, volunteers, and hospice staff for the last 5 years as well.
Okay. So for people that don't know what a hospice is, can you kind of break it down a little bit?
Oh.
Who would stay there? What type of
Sure.
person would stay at a hospice?
That's an excellent question. Thank you. Hospice is wonderful. Hospice is for those individuals who are coming to the end of their life. Normally, hospice admits people who are within about 3 months of dying.
Okay.
Some folks come to us, are transferred from RVH into hospice.
Yes.
They have less than 3 months to live, which is fine. We've had some folks who have been only there overnight.
Okay.
We have other folks who have been there and gotten better, which is lovely. And they are allowed to go home.
Oh,
And
perfect.
should they have relapse, they are allowed, we almost bookmark a room for them so that they can come back in and know that they will have quality care. So there's nursing staff in the back. There is no cost to the public for this. It is covered by their health or public health. And it is a lovely place for the family to come as well, because there's a huge, huge kitchen. And there are volunteers who staff that kitchen and make soup. And they make all kinds of really, really, really decadent treats. You've got muffins and cookies and brownies and butter tarts. And people bring supplies in, so there's more food than you could possibly imagine.
Wow.
And so there is hospital staff to take care. There are doctors that come in to monitor these folks so that they are getting the best quality care, end-of-life care that they can possibly have. They are reduced pain, reduced suffering, and everybody loves it normally when they come into hospice. The families can come and go whenever they please. They're not bound by hospital hours, which is great. They have a Murphy bed, so loved ones can stay overnight. They don't have to try and sleep and cram themselves in a chair.
Of course, and it's uncomfortable, but it's nice, especially to be with your loved one, because especially if you're in that last three weeks or even the last moment, for a lot of people, they want to be there.
You betcha.
And if it's not within the set hours, sometimes, people are...
You miss out.
You miss out a little bit, but I think it's so great at what they're doing. I mean, it sounds amazing. I want to move in, or at least volunteer and help and stuff like that. But so with that, I noticed you also brought some things with you as well. Can you do a breakdown of that?
Sure. Some of the things that I brought is talking about self-care, and that goes back to Reiki initially. We're talking about self-care and saying that self-care is not being selfish, but it is self-preservation. Because you can give and give and give and give of your time and your energy and who you are so much that you, as the chalice or the well, get depleted. So you need to refill your cup in order to be the best that you can be. So there are many things that you can do for self-care, whether it's simply walking in a park. You can connect with family. You can connect with good friends. When was the last time you went out with your friends for coffee? When was the last time that you saw a movie that would make you laugh? When was the last time you took a course that would make you feel joyful? All these things are wonderful to do, but we need to schedule them in for ourselves. We can schedule time for dentists. We can schedule time for doctors. We can schedule time for our kids' soccer games, baseball games, ballet, music lessons, whatever. But we need to schedule time for ourselves as well.
Yeah, exactly, because like you said, there's lessons, there's appointments, but basically we don't say, with your spouse or whoever, like, let's do a date night, or let's just, even for yourself, I just want to go out, I want to walk barefoot in the park, and I want to relax, and my big journey, this year has been self-care, because a lot of times when you do a lot of different activities and you're spread so thin, people, I need you for this, I need you for that. Even people that are retired, they find that they're more busy now that they're retired than they were when they were working, because people feel, oh, you have tons of free time, so you can watch your grandkids, you can do this, you can do this. But self-care is one of those things that is so important, And part of my self-care has been, for me, Reiki, that I've had done that's made such a big difference in my life. But just to balance everything, because I found with my experience, it's not painful.
No.
You know what I mean? And it's very relaxing, and it just helps unblock things that may be within, or just gets everything moving, or, you know, flowing and things like that.
Exactly. You make some very valid points, Brad. Totally valid points.
But it must be exciting too for when you're in the hospice, when you start seeing an improvement, or you see that glimmer in someone's eye, or they're like, "Woo, I haven't felt this good in so long," even though their prognosis is, you know, this amount of time, sort of thing.
Right.
And when they see that, you know, it's like, at least I think that's a thing in assisting, if it's near end times, assisting that so they are at peace and they are balanced and they are, you know, that there is self-love and there is forgiveness and there is balance in their life. I think that helps so much easier the transition. So when they connect, you know, when they transform from this life into the next, that they're able to be, I don't want to say whole, but they're better to be better balanced.
Exactly.
I'd say, and stuff like that.
And it's vitally important for their family members too, because if they have been home caring for so long, they're already stressed to the max. They get to come in, their loved one comes in hospice, they don't have that same kind of worry anymore.
No.
They can relax a little bit. They can take a little bit of time for themselves. Some of them don't. Some of them want to be right there 24/7 with their loved one from the moment they get in until the moment they leave via the funeral cart.
Yes.
So in that sense, there are some like that, but others, when they know and they're grateful that the fact that somebody's going to look after and they don't have to worry about it, they are very relieved. When they come and see me, we sit in a recliner, they have 20 minutes, there's soft music playing, and people start to relax, which is lovely. And the biggest compliment that anybody can ever pay me being there is falling asleep.
Yes, because you know they're totally relaxed, and I think that's the thing. I think it's the caregivers that are probably the person that needs the most self-care. So I want to jump in. I see your book here. So with your book, it's called Integrative Healing. Merging with Modern Medicine. So as we wrap up, can you just give me a little synopsis of the book, how it came to be, and kind of what it's all about?
Sure. It ties in with the Reiki that I do at hospice. By attending those workshops that hospice has, I discovered the things that I was lacking as a professional Reiki practitioner. So I found out about confidentiality. I found out about code of conduct. I found out about scope of practice. Just because I have so many skills in my toolbox doesn't mean that I need to pull them out all at one visit. If I have a customer signing a consent release form for saying just Reiki only, that is what they receive. If I can want them to come back and learn about meditation, or we want to talk about EFT, emotional freedom techniques, or any other skills that I have, why not book them another appointment? That way you're going to expand your business. So in that sense, that's what drove me to writing this book. So this book is for everybody. It's for any complementary therapist who wants to work within a medical setting to make sure that you are professional and put the best foot forward, because as we all know, you only get one chance.
That's it. Thank you so much, Lorinda, for joining us today. I want to say thank you for watching this segment. We're going to be right back with another exciting guest. See you after the break.
When I felt scared, United Way had my back. 5 years ago, I was a stay-at-home mom with 4 children, including one with special needs, and I was facing divorce. I needed a job fast and to figure out how to help my kids and myself through a difficult transition as gently as possible. With United Way funding, my kids were matched with mentors who provided guidance, attention, and a listening ear, which helped as I dealt with legal details and took job preparation classes. Now I see myself as a successful single mom who taught my kids how to become better, not bitter. My name's Kim, and donations to United Way Simcoe Muskoka helped change my life. Thank you.
What kind of show do you want to see on Rogers TV? What interests you? Log on to rogerstv.com, fill out a show proposal, and tell us about your segment idea. We want to know what you want to see. Rogers TV, only on Rogers.
Welcome back to The Wellness of Being. I'm your host, Brad Poirier. They say a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. So with our next guest, Pete, he's going to tell you about a different kind of medicine. So I want to welcome you, Pete, to The Wellness of Being. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
So we'll dive right into it. So you're into medicine. So what kind of medicine is it that you're into?
Yeah, so I'm a naturopathic doctor. So I'm a primary healthcare provider. And what I do is I mix modern science with ancient traditions or traditions. So, you know, a lot of medical training, but also just, you know, the herbs and other things that I'll talk about a bit more later. And one of the key principles of naturopathic medicine is the idea of getting to the root cause of disease. So, you know, as opposed to treating symptoms, which some other types of therapies do, naturopathic medicine looks to kind of get a whole picture and connect the dots and treat the whole person.
Yes.
Not just an isolated part of the person.
So how did you decide to be, you know, an ND?
Yeah. So I've always been into health. You know, I've always been active and into natural nutrition and things like that. But I actually have a business degree.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, you know, I wanted to be a corporate person and I got out there and, you know, worked in the corporate world for almost 10 years and I found I just wasn't happy. Had a good job, had good pay, had amazing coworkers, but something was missing. So something miraculously led me to see a naturopath for that dilemma I had in my life.
Yeah.
And, you know, I saw a naturopath and somehow I kind of connected the dots of the reason I wasn't feeling my best was because I wasn't doing something I was passionate about.
That's correct, yes. And I guess too, going to the naturopath, you probably didn't think at that time, seeing the naturopath, you were just going because I'm not feeling great, I'm kind of stuck where I'm at, or you may have some physical, you know, issues that may have manifested, right? Because psychologically you're not happy. You know, and things like that. So I'm probably thinking, when was the light bulb or that turning moment that happened for you to said, yes, this is what I want? Was it in that room when you were with the naturopathic doctor, or was it after, or how did it kind of happen for you?
Yeah, so I actually showed up at the naturopathic doctor and I said, I don't know why I'm here exactly, but
I know there's something.
Yeah, I know there's something, and and the other thing I'm here, the other reason I'm here is because I'm a bodybuilder.
Okay.
And I want to be a vegetarian bodybuilder.
Ah.
And you know, for me that was kind of my outlet of it, you know, exercise and other things like that. And then ended up going for sports nutrition and other things, but then slowly my, you know, the people that were handling my care were helping open me up to the emotional side of things. So anyway, so I kind of went down that road and it was difficult for me to leave my job. But the turning point, the decision point for me was actually in Algonquin Park in the middle of summer. Yes. You know, I had my sunglasses on, I was paddling in a canoe and the sun was really strong and something just said, well, just get started and see what happens.
And that's the thing. I mean, and for a lot of people that don't know which direction to go, I think any step you take in any direction is a good way, because either you'll know that's the direction I'm supposed to go in, or no, it's not, or it may open up some other doors and things like that. So with homeopathy, what is it really good for? What would somebody come to you for homeopathy?
Yeah, so I see people, I use homeopathy with most of my patients. Okay. Usually people coming to me have some sort of illness or some diagnosis and they're looking for a natural approach. And then there's the other side, other category of people that come that don't really have an illness, but they just want to take care of their health and make sure that they're healthiest. So for both of those people, homeopathy can be helpful. So I'll talk more about the people coming with an illness. So the interesting thing about homeopathy is, you know, say somebody comes in for arthritis, I don't just choose, you know, so these are homeopathic medicines, these vials. It's not just that certain medicines are for arthritis and the person comes in and they have arthritis. I'm like, okay, here's your arthritis medicine. With homeopathy, it's about treating the whole person. Yeah. Yeah,
so I'll just grab one of those. I'll just show our audience there so they can kind of see. So basically with homeopathy, what does it really assist in? As far as, like, does it assist in any kind of, if you have maybe depression or if you have ADD or if you have any of that type of stuff, does it address any psychological?
It does, yeah. I've treated people with depression, hyperactivity, ADHD, anxiety, homeopathy is very good for anxieties and fears. And I'll kind of tie it back to an example you talked about before about I mentioned about taking my first step, and you were like, sometimes when you take the first step, that opens things up.
Yes.
So the way I kind of see homeopathy is, things happen in our lives, and we kind of get stagnant. We get stuck. And homeopathy is a great way to get us unstuck, so we can move forward in life. And it doesn't matter what your illness is. There's a homeopathic medicine that can sort of treat most things. Because in homeopathy, it's not really about the illness, it's about how you're experiencing your illness.
I see.
Yeah.
Yes. So if I were to come to you as a patient, what would my initial appointment be like?
Yeah, so it's 2 hours.
Okay.
And before you showed up, you filled out an intake form, which is 9 pages long. So it's it's in depth. Like I really want to make sure I get to the root cause, and that includes everything about the person's health history as well as their life history, because things that happen in our lives affect our health. So, after reviewing that and having the 2-hour session in which I'll get all the details about the condition that they're coming in with and learn all about them as a human being.
Okay.
Because it's not just the illness that they're coming in with exists within this human being, and without understanding the human being, it's impossible to really heal the illness.
Yes, because I guess some people, they come in, they have lower back pain, and you may find that when you assist them, it may have nothing to do with lower back pain. And they're like, why are you working on something else? But as I say, I think the body has memory, and the body holds a lot of things in our life, the traumas, the sudden changes, things like that people don't realize that, it's like, I just know my back hurts, and I just want to go, I want you to give me something so it doesn't hurt anymore, or I want you to adjust me or do something. You probably get a lot of people that come in that are surprised when you say, no, it's not your lower back, it's something completely different. So do you have a case study, or just maybe somebody that came in sort of thing, and because I imagine you probably get this surprise on people's eyes where they say, wow, I never thought of that.
Well, back pain is a good example. So another system of medicine that I incorporate into my practice is called German New Medicine.
Okay.
And perhaps we don't have time to get into in detail today, but it's the whole idea where things happening in our body have some sort of connection about something going on in our lives.
Yes.
And back pain is a good example. In German New Medicine, back pain is related to feeling unsupported. And oftentimes what happens is when people come in, I've seen this with people before, they have back pain, and when the back pain flares up, usually within 24 to 48 hours before they flare up, if we have a conversation, I'm like, what was going on in your life in the last 24 to 48 hours where you felt unsupported?
Yes.
And there's always a story. There's sort of a mind-body connection.
But they probably don't realize it at the time, because they may have a conflict with someone, or nobody appreciates me, or I'm doing, and then nothing ever happens. But that's why they kind of say, I don't know why I'm feeling this back pain all the time, or even a lot with headaches or migraines or things like that. That's probably can be induced as well, probably with some external type of stimulus or whatever that people don't realize. They just think, I just need to go to the medicine cabinet, I need to take something to get rid of this pain. So which can only probably just be a Band-Aid, but once you get to the real source, because taking 2 hours with someone, I mean, and 9 pages, that's pretty thorough. You know what I mean? And I want to know that somebody knows as much about me and my history, because there may be things that I put down that you don't think are relevant, but you're like, okay, there's, when you're doing your assessment, say, okay, here's a flag, and then you can probably go to them and talk to them more on that and say, well, when, like you said, why when was the last time you felt unsupported, or how often does your back flare up? And they're like, oh, every time I see
that's how it works,
like that sort of thing. So but I notice you also have some things here on the table. So let's have a look at some of them. So we can start maybe going from the largest one and then right down to the smallest one.
Okay. So I have a herbal dispensary, and this is nettle.
Yep. So we'll just put it right up there in the front.
Yeah, nettle is a great source of trace minerals. Our soil in North America has become depleted from all the heavy agriculture, and nettle's great for that. People with anemia do well on nettle. It helps with with hair health.
Okay.
Yeah, you know about that one.
Yeah.
And yeah, just overall great for rejuvenating the body.
So with nettle, what types of forms? Like I see you have it in this form. So if I had this form, how would I use it? How would I take it? What can I use it in? Or do I have to do something with it?
Yeah, so basically most people just have it as a tea.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can have like say a teaspoon per cup kind of thing if this is the right product for you. And sometimes for people who are anemic, it's a heavier kind of dose where you use lots of it, and because you want a more concentrated dose to bring up your iron levels.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's amazing, because I didn't know that about nettle before, and it's just great. So I guess with this, would you put it directly in the hot water, or would you use some type of tea ball or something like that, just so you don't get the little...
Yeah, so with all the different herbs, they act differently in water. Myself, I just like putting it straight in the water. Yeah. I find nettle settles to the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, there are other ones where you want to use the filter.
Yes.
But for those that aren't into the herbs, right in the water, the filter is great.
So, but I guess if you digest the herb, it's not going to do anything to your system.
No, not with this herb.
Not with the nettle?
Yeah.
Okay, so it'll just pass through, the body will just naturally eliminate what it doesn't need. So we'll just pop this to the back, and then I noticed your next one here on the end, which we'll bring up.
Yeah, so this is the omega-3 oil. So this is sourced from fish.
Okay, yes.
A lot of us our diets are deficient in omega-3s. Omega-3s are great for, they're an anti-inflammatory, so good for joint pains, they're good for skin health, excellent for mood. Yeah, so the brain really likes omega-3s.
So if I were to have this at home, how would I take this, and how many times a day should I take it?
It varies for the individual, so it's kind of hard to say a specific dosage. Oftentimes I would say that the average range in my patients would be 1 teaspoon a day, and on the extreme case maybe 3 teaspoons a day, but it's pretty rare to go up that high.
Okay, so with omega-3, if I'm shopping and I want to purchase one, are there better ones than other ones, or what should I look out for?
Yeah, good question. So there are lots of inferior quality omega-3 supplements. One thing you have to look out for is a lot of plant-based omega-3 supplements are sort of disguising themselves to be of the same caliber as the fish oil supplements, and your body cannot convert. Your body must convert the plant ones. So with the fish oil ones, what you want to look for is that there's something indicating that they've been tested for heavy metals. So the lower quality ones that you may find, say in the supermarket.
Oh, okay, yes.
It's not on the label. Haven't gone through the testing because a lot of these fish have the potential for accumulating heavy metals.
Yes. Yeah, I guess with some fish too, and depending, I mean, you hear a lot about a lot of fish, especially larger fish like tuna, things like that have high concentrations of mercury and things like that in them. So, and I guess if you're digesting a lot of tuna, I mean, obviously your body's also digesting a lot of the mineral and stuff like that as well.
Exactly, yeah.
And obviously omega-3s are great for brain power. They're great for, and probably it helps alleviate a lot of joint. And just to keep everything flexible and moving and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people too don't know how important. So we have an omega-3 here, but what's the difference between omega-3, a 6, and a 9?
So omega-3 is an essential fatty acid, so you actually have to get it out of your diet. Most of the oils that we have in our diet today are really high in omega-6. Okay. Yeah, so most people don't really need to supplement with that. Omega-9, most people are usually okay with that as well. If you're having olive oil, I believe that's a source.
It's good. Yeah. So basically, too, I guess if somebody's shopping and you see omega-3, 6, and 9 all in one, we don't necessarily need the all in one. You would suggest more if needed, and say with guidance, of their practitioner, that 3 would be probably of the 3, 6, 9. 3 would be the most important.
Yeah, the
for
6
the body.
Most important for the body, and this has so many benefits. The omega-3 has so many benefits.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So then we'll go here to the next one. So this is a multivitamin? Yeah,
this is a multivitamin. So, a lot of people, based on their diet and their lifestyle, become deficient in vitamins and minerals. Yeah. So the good thing about this one, and thing to look out for when you're shopping, a lot of store brand or supermarket brand vitamins have lots of fillers in them. Things that you probably don't want to be taking, like titanium dioxide, for example, found in your sunscreen and in your multivitamin.
Of course, and it's not necessarily something that needs to be found in your body.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sort of thing. And I think that's the toughest thing too with a a multivitamin because, yes, they're not all equal. They all don't break down the same in the body. Yeah. Some don't break down at all, and they just go right through your system and things like that. But there, I guess there's two forms. I guess if some people don't like a pill form, you can also do it in a liquid form as well, sort of thing. And with that, so with a multivitamin, I think too, because our soil now is so nutrient deprived, we probably need that too. And same, a lot of people are eating a lot of fast food. A lot of people are busy all the time. A lot of people have a lot of stress and things like that. I mean, they need their B vitamins and things like that to help them kind of balance. And I guess there's a lot of vitamins, like everybody knows the basic ones, but even for people that need like a vitamin K or things like that, a lot of people don't even know what vitamin K is. Or do they need it, or they've never heard of it. They thought the alphabet doesn't go that high. Like sort of thing. But what's the best thing to look for? So if I was looking at the label in a store, I mean, if it wasn't like recommended to me by a practitioner like yourself, what is something I should look for on the label?
Yeah, so one thing to look for is dosage.
Okay.
And I can't go through all the recommended dosages.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
But you know, the things that I'm stocking here, I'll give you an example. B12, one capsule of this multivitamin has 333 micrograms of B12.
Oh, wow.
Now, if you look at the most top-selling multivitamins that you'll find in the local drugstore, they may have 5 micrograms compared to 300 micrograms. And the other difference is the inferior ones have a chemical form of B12.
I see. Called
cyanocobalamin. So that's one thing to look for. If you're buying a multivitamin and it has cyanocobalamin, that means it's probably not very effective. You know, this one has methylcobalamin.
Oh, okay, so then I guess it's good to be aware. And this is one of my favorites, you know, I mean, because I go all the time. But this one is ashwagandha. You know, it says testosterone production, stress, and anxiety. So talk about where ashwagandha comes from.
Yeah, so ashwagandha is from India. You know, in India they call it Indian ginseng. Ginseng, you know, kind of gives you the power of a stallion.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I imagine, because for me, myself, I use it in shakes. I use it in like things like that. So I find it kind of disguises the flavor a little bit, and it just puts it in. But it gives you that natural energy as opposed to maybe going for an energy drink or like tons of caffeine.
Exactly.
You know?
And when some people are sometimes question what's the connection between testosterone production and stress and anxiety. You know, and all these things are connected to the health of your adrenal glands, which are the stress hormones in the body. They sit on top of the kidneys and the lower back. And when they're overworked, the areas that people see illness in or weakness in are digestion, well, energy, of course, immune function, and libido. So this kind of helps to go in there and
it does it all. So I mean, one revs you up, and then our next one, you know, it's probably the opposite. It's called Rescue Remedy. And just a quick, as we wrap this segment up here, so a little bit of an overview just with the Rescue Remedy. What would you use it for?
You would use it for if you're having some anxiety before a performance, if you have an exam coming up, or if you're just stressed out in general in life. It kind of just helps to bring things down. It's made from flower essences, which are basically flowers extracted in a certain ways to kind of have the grounding, you know, grounding energy to them.
Well, that's amazing. There's so much information you shared with us today, Pete. I want to say thank you for coming. I want to say thank you to our audience for watching The Wellness of Being today. I'm Brad Poirier, your host, and we'll see you on the next episode.